Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be giving you both my most disappointing and the worst reads of 2020. I thankfully don't have too many in either category, so I thought I would just combine it into one video instead of making two, because why would I edit two videos when I can only edit one, you know? You feel me? So first I'm going to talk about my most disappointing reads. I think this is the disclaimer most people say. These are not necessarily bad books. These are just books that I expected more from, and they didn't quite meet my expectations. Some of them I didn't really like that much, but some of them were books that I still did really like, just not as much as I thought I was going to. And I'm going to go ahead and start this off with a bang. This is going to be real spicy. People are going to click off this video right away as soon as I say this. I was really disappointed by The Invisible Life of Addie Larue. I know. Everyone is freaking out about this book, and I just found it too slow. Like, for quite a while, I was happy to just sit in this, like, sort of quiet, meandering, dreamy story. The writing is beautiful. The characters are wonderful. Like, it's great, except that easily 50 to 100 pages could have been cut out, and the story would have basically been the same. To be fair to this book, I was also feeling a little slumpy. It took me like a month. It doesn't take me that long to read books. So I will be giving Addie Larue another try at some point in the future, once I'm like in the mood for it again. And I hope that I can attribute this to just me and not the book. But as of right now, like, I was just kind of disappointed by it. The next book that disappointed me was The Last Final Girl by Stephen Graham Jones. This was a horror book that is sort of very slasher-esque, which is my favorite kind of horror movie, so I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna love this book. And I didn't like it. Well, I mean, I did not like it. It was 3 stars. It was fine. I find Stephen Graham Jones's writing style to be very difficult to parse sometimes. Like, he has a very unique way of writing. I've read 3 of his books this year, and the 2 that I read on audio, including The Last Final Girl, were the ones that I didn't like as much, and the one that I borrowed the ebook from my library I liked a lot more. So my plan is to never listen to a Stephen Graham Jones audiobook again, because I think the format contributed a lot to my confusion, because that's the main reason why I didn't like it. I was just very confused, because the way that he uses language and his diction is just, like, sometimes really difficult to understand, even if he's not using complex words. It's just, the way he writes is very odd, not in a bad way, just in a way I'm not used to. So at least until I'm used to his books, I will be sticking with reading them with my eyes for now. So this is another one I'm kind of attributing to me, not necessarily the book being super bad or wrong. The next book that really disappointed me was A Taste of Sage by Yafa Santos. This was one of my most anticipated romance releases of the year. Like, I had an arc. I read the arc. I was so excited. And I didn't like it. I gave it 2 stars. I was just bored. There was no chemistry between the main character and the love interest, which is sort of important in a romance book. It felt disjointed. I did read this a while ago, so I don't totally remember. I should have gone back to look at my Goodreads review of it, but I didn't, because that's just the way that I am. But I just remember being so disappointed, because it was an enemies to lovers. Like, we all know that's my favorite trope. If you're new here and you don't know that's my favorite romance trope, hi, I'm Katie. Enemies to lovers is my favorite romance trope, and it just wasn't done well in this book. And that's really all I have to say. My next disappointing read was Where Dreams Descend by Janella Angelis. I was so sad. Again, this is another one where I was like, I'm so sad this isn't good. This book was marketed as Phantom of the Opera meets Moulin Rouge, so I was like, hell yeah, I'm gonna love that. I was a theater kid, like, this is my shit. And again, it was just boring. Like, so much did not happen in this book. It could have been so exciting and grand, and it could have swept you away, and it was just a bland pile of nothing for like 460 pages, I think, like 450, 460. It's quite a chunker, and it was not everything that I wanted. It wasn't even particularly romantic. I didn't buy into this love story either. Like, I could tell that the author is kind of trying to push it that way, and I wasn't feeling it. The magic system was very confusing. It was not explained well at all, which I don't always hate, but in this case, it was brought up enough and it was significant enough to the story that I was like, I need more help, and I wasn't getting it. So overall, it was just not a book for me. The next book that really disappointed me was The Hand on the Wall by Maureen Johnson. This is the third, and what I thought at the time was the final book in the Truly Devious series. Maureen Johnson has actually announced that there's going to be a fourth book coming out this year. The cover looks amazing. It's purple. It's my favorite color. I'm excited. But this was the conclusion of the first mystery, I believe. So in the fourth book, Stevie will be moving on to another mystery. But in this one, they were wrapping up everything with the Ellingham case, you know, discovering all the loose ends and tying them up. And for some reason, it just didn't click with me like the first two books did. I felt like it dragged on. There was a lot, if I'm remembering correctly, which I'm probably not. I feel like this is one of the first books I read in 2020, so it's been a minute. If I'm remembering correctly, there was a lot more of a focus on the romance, which I think is a universal critique of this series. No one understands why this romance is here because the love interest is so shitty. So there was that. It just didn't click with me. I still gave it 3 stars. Like, I thought it was a fine finale, but it didn't, like, blow my socks off, which is what I was sort of hoping for. And now my most disappointing book of the year, which is, I don't know why I'm smiling. I'm sad. It was Something to Talk About by Meryl Wilsner, which is the first female-female romance published by Berkley. I think it's the first traditionally published female-female romance. I feel like I heard someone say that. I don't actually know if that's true. Someone fact check me if it's not, but I feel like it is. And again, this book was just nothing. There was nothing. There was no chemistry. The conflicts between the love interests were stupid, to put it quite frankly. Like, it was miscommunication trope to the extreme, where it was, like, dumb that these people were not talking to each other, that they weren't communicating. It was silly. It was just not good. And I'm so sad because, like, if you don't know, I am a WLW, as the kids say. I'm a lady loving lady. I wanted this book to be great because I wanted to see myself represented in a traditionally published romance. And I guess I was, but it wasn't good. And I have a conspiracy theory. If y'all put on tinfoil hats with me for a moment. I think that Berkley was so concerned with being the first to publish a female-female romance book in, like, a traditional publication, whatever, that they sacrificed quality, that they pushed it out before it was ready, that they didn't allow the author and the editor to do the edits that they needed to make it truly good. And that sucks. I could be completely wrong, but I just feel like that's what happened, like, in my heart and in my soul. Berkley, please don't sue me. This is just a theory. I'm not accusing you of that. I'm just saying it seems like a possibility to me. And the books that I thought were the worst, there's only 3 of them, so that's good that there's only 3 books, and only one of them was a 1 star. The other 2 were 2 stars. So I'm going to be talking about the 1 star last as, like, the grand finale. So the first one that I'm going to talk about was absolutely the worst of the year is The Apartment by Kl Slater. This is the poor man's version of Lock Every Door by Riley Sager, which is an amazing thriller book, like 5 out of 5 stars, my favorite Riley Sager book. And The Apartment was literally the same. It was a woman who is down on her luck, gets the offer to live in a really nice apartment that seems too good to be true, but she lives there anyway, and then crazy, creepy things start happening. It's bad. It's bad. I actually read it for, I think it was my last video that I posted, where it was Weekend Contemporary-a-thon in, like, May. So I will link that in the places where you link things. If you are interested in seeing my thoughts as I was reading it, because it was just bad. It didn't make any sense. the main character, like, I know this is a lot in thrillers that the main characters are making dumb decisions for the sake of moving the plot forward. And sometimes in thrillers, you know, I can suspend my disbelief for that a little bit, but this was off the charts, y'all. It was, whew. It was not good. So, if that concept sounds interesting to you, just relock every door. Don't bother with this book. It's not worth it. The next worst book of the year, this also might be kind of spicy. Although I don't think so. I think this is somewhat of a popular opinion. Is Children of Virtue and Vengeance, the second book in... I think the title is technically The Legacies of Orisha. It's the sequel to Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi, which was good. I reread Children of Blood and Bone before I read this book. And I was like, yep, this book holds up. It's as good as I remember it being. Like, I'm a fan. You know, you can kind of tell that it's the author's debut and there are some things to be fixed, but it's really good. And then I read Children of Virtue and Vengeance. I think part of why it's on my worst books rather than most disappointing is because it was such a fall from grace, right? Because Children of Blood and Bone was so good. And then this book, again, I hate it when books are nothing, and this book was nothing. It's constantly people flip-flopping their motivations, trying to decide what side am I on? Do I believe her? Do I believe him? Do I have romantic feelings for this person? Do I have romantic feelings for that person? Do I want to start a war? Like... Hi, friends. My camera died, and I don't have more batteries, and my car's in the shop, so I'm gonna finish out this video as vlog footage, I guess, because that's what we're doing. What a great start to 2021, am I right? Wow, this lighting is so bad. Anyway, Children of Virtue and Vengeance was not good. I didn't like it, and I don't really see... I swear I've seen people say that this is a 7-book series. How? When book 2 was literally nothing. Is this gonna be the whole series? Where nothing happens the whole time? No, thank you! And then, the final book of the year, the worst book of the year, my 1-star book, is called Drive by Courtney Mcguire. This is either an indie published or self-published book. I don't remember. It is a male, like, smutty romance book. I got it on NetGalley. I was like, sure, I'll give it a quick read. And it was so bad. Because the lines of consent were not clearly drawn. Well, they were clearly drawn, and then they were crossed like 1,000 times. And I could tell the author thought that was fine. Not fine, but like, it wasn't a big deal. And especially when it's not own voices, because it was written by a woman, I feel like that is very questionable. And people got shitty with me in my Goodreads review. Some girl who hadn't read it was like, wow, I don't know how to hold a camera. Some girl who hadn't read it was like, well, you should have read the trigger warnings, which I did. And it was actually like, oh, these are some things that I'm interested in reading about in a smutty book. So like, that's fine. And I just didn't think the author handled those topics very well at all. And it was very frustrating. And I was pissed that this was allowed to happen. I was not okay with it. Also, that's what I'm currently reading. These Violent Delights. I'm enjoying it very much. So yeah, that's my worst books and most disappointing books of 2020. Thank you for being here, and stay tuned for most surprising books and best books of 2020 coming up soon whenever I upload them. I don't really know yet. Leave a comment, like, and subscribe. All my social medias are linked down below if you would like to be my friend on any other platforms. Thank you. Bye.